So I am streaming and it's telling me to rotate the device. It actually gave me the option to stream this landscape, which is what I prefer. I don't like streaming in portrait, but now it's telling me to rotate the device since it's on my mobile phone. So I guess that's what I have to do, even though it's not my favorite thing. But anyway, today's video is inspired by experiences that I have in Ghana on a regular basis. And it is the statement, "You're not a Ghanaian." And it is actually one of the most frustrating things to deal with every single day. And I think because it happened so many times today, I just felt like ranting about it in a video. So it's just an interesting dynamic to have been living in Canada the majority of my life, becoming a Canadian. I'm also Ghanaian because I was born in Ghana, and living in Canada to have people say things like, "Where are you from?" Because when they see a black person, a lot of times they just assume that you can't be a Canadian. So the constant question of, "Where are you from? You're not really Canadian, you can't be Canadian," is a regular occurrence that a lot of people of color experience in Canada. And it's just interesting to have that dynamic, to now be in the country of my birth, where I always had to tell people that's where I was from, and to be here, and then to have that same statement on a regular basis. So, I mean, in a different way, where it's actually the "you're not a Ghanaian" statement. So it started off this morning with my taxi driver, who, when I got in the car and I started to speak some Tree, and of course it's with a little bit of an accent because I didn't grow up here, and his first thing is, "You're not a Ghanaian." And so I said, well, and then I said, why do you think that? And he said, well, your tonation, the way you speak. And I said, well, the way a person speaks is not indicative of where they are from, but it's indicative of where they've lived. And you can live in a multitude of places and pick up accents from different places. It doesn't necessarily mean you're from one or the other. And so anyway, he was like, well, you're not. Eventually, he ended up telling me that he had those similar experiences when he lived in Asia. And when he's traveled throughout Asian countries, that being a black person and always being asked where he was from because they know he's not from there. So he understood the dynamic when I had brought up the topic of, why do you think this? What do you think? Why do you think I'm not from here? And that kind of thing. So when we started the conversation about accent being indicative of where you're from, then he understood. And I said, yes, yeah, I'm Canadian, but I'm also Ghanaian at the same time. I was born here. This is where my parents were from. So once he dropped me off and to my next destination, and I end up at a shopping market. Didn't know there was this shopping market going on at Accra Mall, but it's happening right now. Well, as I'm making this video, it's happening over the weekend. And at the market, at different vendors, I got the same thing. "You're not a Ghanaian, you're not a Ghanaian, you're not a Ghanaian." And I'm just like, what does it have to do with business? If someone's asking you about the products, and then it's just, "You're not a Ghanaian, you're not a Ghanaian, you're not a Ghanaian." And then fast forward to later this evening, and actually no, at a restaurant today, I got the same thing too. I had ordered a coffee at a cafe actually, and the same "You're not a Ghanaian" statement. And then later in the afternoon, I stopped by a carpentry place to get a quote for doing a shoe rack and a wardrobe. And instantly there was 3 guys there, and they basically, 2 of them said that I'm not a Ghanaian, you're not a Ghanaian. And they said it's the way you dress, it's your clothes. And I said, it's interesting you say that, because some of the clothes I wear are from here. Looks like we have a connection issue, which is Ghana internet. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so at the carpenter place, the carpenter and his 2 workers, there was 3 people there, and 2 of them said I wasn't. And then when I was buying oranges almost home, and this sweet lady that I bought oranges from, she said, "Are you an Afro-American?" No one's ever said it to me like that. They usually say, "Are you a Black American?" or "Are you American?" or "Are you Jamaican?" Or just "You're not a Ghanaian." So she said, "Are you Afro-American? You're not a Ghanaian." And I said, this question I get every day, multiple times throughout the day. But she was really sweet. I didn't want to, ruffle any feathers, so I talked to her a bit, and then we just talked about, where my parents are from, and that I grew up outside of Ghana and I'm here now. But I just wanted to say that it can be quite frustrating for anybody who is a returnee or somebody who has moved here, that you do constantly get the "you're not a Ghanaian" statement on a regular basis, and it's quite challenging at times, but it is what it is. So you take the good with the bad, and I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I know that naturally it's out of people's curiosity that they say those things and they make those statements, but it can be quite irritating. Sort of like when people ask me how tall I am every day. So this has become the new question. It used to be, how tall are you? Well, I still get that, but now this is an added dimension to the daily conversations. So that's all I want to say. That's it for today. And how do I end this live stream?